Happy Wednesday, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today is a beautiful day, and we are excited to be here with you. A big welcome to In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. I'm Winnie's son, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and host of Level Up. But I am also here to keep you posted on all things business finance. And as you know, here with me is my friend and co-host, the super co-host I should say, the one and only Greg Nibbler. Greg, how are you this week? How's it going?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a busy week so far, but it's great to be here. We're here on a Wednesday today. Thanks everybody for joining us. Wherever you're watching, we do appreciate it. Again, I'm Greg Nibbler, longtime tech reporter, covering all aspects of tech, but really, I like the fun stuff. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you're watching live, drop in your comments, your questions, whatever it is, we can interact with you. This show is us hosting, but really we're here with you the whole time. So thanks everybody for joining us. And yeah, looking forward to today. I've got some interesting things. I think we're going to talk about some Uber ratings. I've got a Bionic Eye, so all kinds of stuff coming up on the show. That's a tease right there, a Bionic Eye. So
Bionic Eye.
Bionic Eye, right? So I'll explain that here in a bit, but we've got lots of stuff. So yeah, please bring in the comments, whatever you want to talk about, drop those in there. And always look forward to Winnie, though, updating us with everything that's going on in the world of finances and making it understandable. And I know there's always so much for you to keep up on. I can't imagine how you manage that with everything that you do every week. That's a lot to handle.
It's a lot that we do, Greg. And I say the same thing about you. I look forward to your show every single week. It's like the highlight. It's like really, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this Bionic Eye. Actually, I'm not going to think about it just yet because I'm going to have that thought in my process. So
Save it up.
About finance. Yeah. And I want to say a quick hello to what we see Vicky Garvey on Facebook Live. I see so many of you today. Thank you so much for all of you for joining on live with us today. Such a treat. And we'll be monitoring your comments, like Greg said. So definitely let us know where you're from and your thoughts. Now let's start with the market. Let you know we're going to go to the serious stuff, then we're going to go Greg and have some fun. Okay. So the Dow is closed down 54 points. The NASDAQ closed down 15 points as well. And the S&P though was up barely, almost 4 points, up 3.94 today. Now, we saw continued struggles in the financial markets today. Actually, most of the morning we saw a lot of red, a lot of negative today, because the stock market continues to have a lot of concerns. One of the big things, of course, is the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So until that gets resolved, we're probably going to see increased volatility. But there's also some big news, though. And actually, CNBC reported it today. The consumer spending bounced back really sharply. So people are definitely continuing to spend more and more money. This is reported from the U.S. Commerce Department today. Online shopping contributed to most of this. So people are definitely doing a lot of shopping online, less so probably in stores. But interesting enough, a lot of people are actually buying new furniture and home furnishings, and that came up to over 7%. And of course, cars and car parts saw an increase of over 5% as well. Now, what's interesting, though, is in terms of food and drinking establishments, definitely we saw more of a dip, and that was in January. Probably not a complete surprise there because we did see an increase of COVID cases last month as well. Now, today, the Fed Reserve also released something that I know a lot of you who are investors might have been paying attention to, and that is sort of the minutes report, or sort of the summary of what was discussed in January's big session with the Federal Reserve. Now, not a bunch of big surprises here, but it does show that worries about inflation and the U.S.'s current financial situation continues to be really, really very important and continue to play havoc on the financial markets. It's also noted in the report that members of Congress encouraged a measured approach to tightening monetary policy. But what is concerning is that this report also showed that inflation was affecting bigger parts of our economy here in the United States, and not just those areas that were initially impacted by the pandemic. So it's very much widespread. Now, the other thing that's continuing to drive concern in the financial markets is, of course, this pandemic. And the U.S. has said that there has been over 1 million cases, or 1 million deaths, I should say. And they're saying these are excess deaths during the pandemic. 1 million COVID killing. This was as reported by the CDC this week as well. Now, on some other news that I thought was interesting is JP Morgan, believe it or not, is going to be the first bank that joins the metaverse. Now, JP Morgan talked about this, launching their virtual bank. This is their idea of getting into the metaverse. And so CEO Jamie Dimon is, of course, sharing a photo and as well as a roaming tiger. This is going to be like the first, I guess, virtual bank on the metaverse. So I'm not sure what that all means. I'm sure Greg will understand that better, but I guess good for JP Morgan. Hopefully they do well. As you know, the virtual land has jumped tremendously, and they're saying that virtual land jumped to $12,000 in December and was $6,000 just in June. It's like $54 billion spent in virtual goods. It's incredible how much money is being spent but on another note, though, I did want to share with you, and I thought this was really tragic, Greg. I got to share this with you because I guess we have to say bye-bye to avocados for now, because the U.S. avocado import ban from Mexico is making it so that, I guess 80% of the avocados that we consume here in the United States come from Mexico, and because of this nationwide or this import ban, if you will, avocados are getting skyrocketingly expensive. And so I guess, if you want to have your avocado toast and your guacamole, well, we might have to look for a different fruit temporarily because this is not coming to us. And I guess they said that those avocados that are currently in stores will probably be gone by the end of this week. Now, couple that with what we heard about chickens recently. This kind of concerning. I don't know, Greg, what do you think about this? Avocados, this is big business. I mean, I feel bad for like Chipotle and such.
Yeah, I mean, a large part of my personal diet is avocados and chicken, so that's definitely not good for me when I look at it that way. But yeah, that's crazy. And avocados, it's not even like something that you can stock up on, and just have a supply for a month from now. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I hope it gets resolved here at some point. But yeah, that's nuts. I mean, I wonder what the going price is going to be. Is there going to be like a black market avocado
ring going on,
like somebody driving around?
I know. Free the avocados. I checked this before we got on, Greg. I was actually thinking to myself, maybe I should order some avocados. So I went on Instacart, right? 6 avocados, Greg, over $12. And I was like, that's like $2 an avocado.
Yeah.
That's like really steep. And then the sad thing is, like you said, I mean, if they don't sell them to us, what happens to them? That sounds like a big waste.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because I mean, where can they send them to you? So it's just, a lot of rotting avocados, I guess, across the border. I'm not sure. Yeah, I hope that gets resolved.
I hope it does
for a lot of reasons, but even for my selfish ones too.
Yeah. And same with the chicken thing. The chicken thing is, for those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, this chicken thing. I know Ricky is saying poor avocado. Let me tell you about the chicken thing. This is really important to note because I noticed it's not making mainstream news. But recently, I guess somewhere in the United States, one of the big chicken places where they raise chickens, right? I think it's with Tyson Foods. 250,000 chickens had to be destroyed because of the bird flu was detected at that chicken place. So they're saying this could definitely impact the price of chickens, and are expecting this to sort of trickle down in the coming weeks as well.
Yikes. Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to switch up what I eat, I think is what that's basically saying. Time to explore some more options.
Time to explore options. Tell us the good stuff, Greg. We want to hear it now. So give us some happy news.
All right, let's switch to that. We'll talk about some of the big news in tech this week, and for the first time in a little while, I'm going to talk about an actual video game release, and it is going to make news whether you play this game or not. And it's a new one from PlayStation exclusive. It's Horizon Forbidden West. So this game comes out on Friday. And for those that don't know, it's a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, which came out in 2017, which was a big one of its own. And this is the kind of direct sequel to it. There's a few things I want to talk about just on the tech reason on why it's so cool. But to understand the premise of this game, the best way I can describe it is it's a post-apocalyptic story that takes place in the West with dinosaurs that are robot dinosaurs. That's a lot of what it is. And there's a whole story behind that, but essentially that's what you're looking at here. So it's all these dinosaurs made out of machines, and then you've got these different clans, and that's the star of the game right there. That's who you play as. So it's pretty, crazy concept to begin with. But what's really cool about this is this one's really designed for ultimately the PlayStation 5, which is, of course, the latest console. If you can get your hands on one, I know a lot of people still can't get those, but if you have one, this is the game you are going to want to play, because if you look at these graphics, just how incredible they are. I mean, it does. It looks like a movie. I mean, and part of this is like the cinematic side of it, but still, it's really that goes that in depth, even just in actual gameplay. I mean, down to like even looking at the water, like pebbles under the water. You see individual, snowflakes coming down there. It's just so cool what they've been able to do. And they even have two different ways you can play it. One where they up the graphics even more, and one where they up the frames per second. So if you want super fast playing, you have two different ways that you can actually play the game.
Wow.
But all the reviews are fantastic for it. Talking about just open world, go wherever you want, you see anything. And then you've got, the ruins of San Francisco and Las Vegas that you go through during it too. It's pretty incredible. Of this
That's
game.
Incredible. Greg, do you have a PlayStation 5?
I have a PlayStation. I have a PlayStation 4 though. I don't have a 5.
Will it run this?
It will run this. So you can get it is coming out for PlayStation 4 also. So don't worry if you don't have a PlayStation 5. You can definitely still get it. If you are planning on getting a PlayStation 5 soon, I would probably just wait to buy it. Although there is an upgrade possibility. So you can upgrade it. And there was a deal going for a while where you had a free upgrade. I'm not sure if that's still happening or not, but if you do want to wait, then it's like 10 or 15 bucks to upgrade it. So it's not too bad. But yeah, so you can get it for PlayStation 4. It's not going to look quite like that on that, because you just can't run the graphics like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think, and just seeing where video games are going, PlayStation 5 really hasn't been out that long. So, and it takes a long time to develop games with all the latest technology. So it's just kind of a hint of where we're going to be going and how good these are going to get on that. It is a PlayStation exclusive. So if you have the Xbox, you're kind of out of luck on that, which we're going to see a lot more of that with everybody buying up video game developers. But this one's always been that way. So it's a pretty big game release, and there's already tie-ins. This is how, even if you don't play games, you're going to start seeing this everywhere. There's a huge advertising campaign going on all over the world in major cities where they have giant billboards and all kinds of like video displays of the robot dinosaurs. I'll just say that in there. So you're going to see that popping up in cities, and they're even tying in with Legos. Legos has a whole kit that's going to come out that's Horizon Forbidden West themed. So no matter what it is, there's going to be a lot of crossover marketing for this. You're going to see
that is super cool.
Yeah.
So, Greg, let me ask you this. I mean, do you feel like this is going to be made into a movie one day? I mean, the technology looks incredible. It just seems like this is just the beginning of what we could see as a whole trilogy of movies and books. And this is a big brand. I
could see it turning into a movie. I mean, it'd be kind of like a Transformers kind of thing, I guess, as far as having the giant robots running around. That would definitely make a good movie. And, you see a lot of video games right now being turned into movies. I mean, whole franchises are. You got Halo coming out. Last of Us is coming out, and those are being both converted into live action ones. I could see the Horizon series that turning into it. It'd take a lot of CGI, I feel like, but I mean, if they can do it here, why not? I'm sure somebody's looking into it right now.
Right. And do you think is this one of those things where, how a lot of gamers they're able to wear the headsets and whatnot, right? To be immersed in this experience. Is that going to be something that you can see with this game?
I'm not sure if there's a VR experience for it yet. That's a really good question. I don't believe that there is. I could see that coming, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I know right now it's focused on the PS5, and the PS4 as well. But yeah, I could see that coming into something. That would be pretty cool as far as adding it in with the PlayStation VR. Yeah.
Well, you have to let us know how it goes, Greg. Yeah. Let us know when you play it.
Yeah, I know. I have Horizon Zero Dawn, so I do have that one. I played that, and that makes me even more excited to play this one. So pretty cool. You're going to see a lot, I think, of this coming up here in the next few days and weeks, and until we get into the next ones. But yeah, let's look at those graphics. So much fun to see what they can do with that, and so realistic. Amazing. Going from there, so some other big news happening this week. This is I want to talk about a product release, and I really want to get your opinion, Winnie, on how this looks and what you think of it. So this is coming from Sony with a new earbud, a wireless earbuds. Everybody's got one. There's always new ones coming out, but I like seeing the different form factors. So this is Sony's new release called the Link Buds. Definitely a unique look to these. And there's a reason. So they've got that open ring design, as it just said. So it fits in like that. So it fully fits inside of your ear right there. But its main purpose is that you have ambient noise that can always come through. So it's designed to be walking around in the world. You know, if you want noise cancellation, that's not what these are designed for. It's more so you can hear things when you need to hear things when you're walking around. And there's other earbuds that have that ability, but this is really designed for that ability. So if there's, you know, somebody, a car honking or somebody's driving up next to you, you'll hear that. It won't disrupt your music, but you'll hear that coming through. It also has some different abilities too, to where you can, if you talk or you're having a conversation, it'll know that and it'll pause the music while you're having a conversation and then start it back up. But what do you think about the look of these?
Well, I mean, I do like the fact that they sort of fit in your ear, and I think the design is really clean. It almost looks like two little marshmallows stuck together. It's cute. I like it. I don't hate it. I think that I like anything that's super clean and simple like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just, once again, kind of like the earbuds, really easy to lose. So you have to be very careful with that.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, from a design standpoint, Greg, I give it a thumbs up.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I do too. I would be interested in these. I mean, the one thing for me, I think especially if you're walking around and you're outside and you're active or exercising and you just want to be safe, because that is a concern when you have, you know, earbuds in and it's blocking out all the sound. That can be definitely dangerous. So you're going to be safe on that end. The one thing though, I've even read this in some of the reviews, like if you're going to be traveling on an airplane or you want something closed off, so you want some noise cancellation, these would not be the ones for that. But they are pretty waterproof, pretty dustproof. So you can exercise with these and be fine on that. As far as, you know, any worry, the battery life is not the greatest. It's like it's 5.5 hours max on that, which is
still better than a lot of other ones. Like
better than a lot of other ones. And it shows, you know, how good they're getting with the batteries on these things, but they're also so compact. There's only so much battery you can fit in there, you know, at least as of right now. Yeah. IPX4 rating. They're starting off, I believe it's $179 is what they're starting off. So that's, you know,
similar to AirPods. Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to AirPods as far as pricing, you know, that may be a little bit more than what somebody would want to pay, because the sound, if you're just going for sound quality, that's probably not going to be, this probably isn't the one that you want, but it's still a pretty interesting look. And overall, you know, for what they do, they're pretty good.
Yeah, that looks really good. I mean, I really like, Greg, I'll tell you, I really like the fact that it's not completely noise canceling, because that was one of the beefs I had with the AirPod Pros. I felt like, you know, you couldn't hear anything outside. And sometimes you just need to be able to know what's going on around you, you know, unless you're literally in an airplane for a few hours watching a movie and nothing else, then I can see that being helpful. But I think this is probably a little bit more practical. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting to see. You know what I'm interested to hear too would be to see the quality of them, because, you know, Greg, and you and I both do a lot of interviews, and, you know, that's also really important too. That's good that we can hear, but how clear do we come through then on the microphone or on speaker as well?
I was reading one of the reviews on this from a reporter from The Verge, and he was saying that when he tested it out, his coworkers said it was better than the other ones. Not necessarily the best sound, but better than a lot of the other ones that he tests. So it sounds like the voice technology is pretty dialed in on this. I don't know if it would work for, you know, what we do necessarily but at least it's not terrible. So
not terrible.
I don't know if that's a glowing review, but it's not terrible from what
it's not terrible. But, you know, Sony, I feel like you should send Greg and I we can test it on the field.
Love to test these out, Sony.
To see if it really is great or if it's kind of terrible.
And I'd be fine testing these out. We could test it out live on the broadcast and let everybody decide. How does it sound?
Yeah.
So there you go. So some new earbuds there with Sony with the Link Buds. The name is good too. I think that's a good name.
Yeah. Brian
compared to
Schumann.
some
Well,
other
let
ones.
me ask. Sorry, Greg. I see Brian joining us on
Oh
LinkedIn
yeah.
Live. Brian, let us know what you think about this. Be curious. And so Brian is saying challenge with wireless buds live. You just never know when you're gonna take a dive on your battery wise. And hello.
Hi, Brian. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the battery is definitely important. I think in the case, I believe it was 12 extra hours of battery life that you get out of that. So 17 and a half ish total before you have to recharge the entire thing. But yeah, it's I think these, especially to me, I see this as walking around, you know, just going on a walk or a run out in the city. This would be pretty cool. And ambient noise is important. Just
Yeah, I
everybody
think
remember
so.
that. I'm
Yes,
saying that to myself too, by
me
the way,
too.
because as I've been guilty of that, of not paying enough attention. And yeah, pay attention to your surroundings. It's good. So there you go. Some Sony Link Buds. All right, a couple other things. Before we get to the Bionic Eye, which we're going to talk about in a second. This is something new from Uber, and I really wanted to bring this up because they released some statistics, or at least some rankings, but also it's a new thing from Uber where you can now see your ratings as a passenger. So this is under the settings. You go to privacy center, and then I think it's take a look at your activity. Yeah, it's being shown right there.
I gotta
Credit's
check
always on
this
it.
out. I'm gonna follow along with Greg right here.
Yeah, I looked
I'm
at mine
curious.
today too, and I'm like, you know, usually I have a pretty good experience in Uber rides. I've had a couple of, as we all have had, a couple of bad drivers over the course, but not too often
Right.
that I've
Overall,
had to.
really good.
Yeah, not most of the time it's been pretty good. I like
Either
it.
good or just you're quiet, which is not a bad thing either.
Exactly. That's me too.
Mhm.
That's what I was going to say. Like quiet is usually fine
Yeah.
for me. I'm like, we don't have to talk. But you can take a look at it, and they're not going to tell you who specifically, you know, gave you different ratings, but you can see how many stars you got in each category, and see how many times, you know, you got the 5 stars or a 1 star, if that were to happen. And I was interested in this for a couple of reasons. You know, like I said, a couple of bad ones over the years, but most of the time I think everything's fine. There were a couple of times where I've purchased an Uber ride home for somebody else who maybe was out a little bit later than they should, needed a ride home. So I got them home, and I didn't ride along. And afterward, I'm like, I wonder how that went. I hope that went okay. What was my rating on that? And there's a couple in there, but most of it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've done that too. Like when my mom needs a ride, I'll call her an Uber because she just doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah. Well, your mom's probably fine. These are some friends of mine who were out a little, you know, very nice people, just out a little late.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody picks up my hint there. One of them I know had it. I knew there was going to be one that went on there because I had one friend who had an issue on the way home.
It's you. We don't want to
got
know.
a little upset, we'll say, and I found out afterward. He's like, "Dude, I'm sorry." I'm like, "It's fine. You're paying for that, but it's fine." So that's where I know my 1 star came from. Other than that, seemed pretty good. My rating's pretty good. But yeah, everybody could go there now and take a look at that and see what it is. So they released that, and then they also released a top 10 best and top 10 worst rated cities when it comes to passengers. So
interesting.
Yeah, and I'm totally putting you on the spot here. If you could take one guess, what do you think would be the highest rated city for passengers in the US? Who has the nicest passengers?
The nicest passengers. Well, see, I would have guessed somewhere like maybe like like Toronto, maybe.
Yeah.
Or you're talking about in the US though?
Just US, yeah.
Just US? Okay. Huh. That's an interesting one. I don't know. I see. Normally, I might have guessed Hawaii, but I know for a fact that it's not Hawaii because that's
a lot of tourists probably too. Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know. I might guess California just because again, I tell you, I feel like Californians are relatively happy people. But I'm guessing it's not just because there's so many of us. There's probably a lot of grumpy people. But I don't know. I'm totally at a loss here.
So the highest rated, it turns out, according to Uber, according to their statistics, the highest, the city with the highest rated passengers is San Antonio. San
No
Antonio had the
way.
highest rated. Yeah.
I was just there a few weeks ago. They had the highest rated passengers.
Highest rated passengers. Yeah. I'm taking a look here right now. 10 highest average rider ratings among large
I
US
am
cities.
shocked. I am totally shocked. Wow. That means, okay, so then it could mean a couple of things, Greg. This could also mean they have the nicest Uber drivers, right? Because the
That's true.
drivers are ranking the passengers, because we typically, then the passengers would be like out of state people, typically, right? Well,
Right.
not necessarily, because maybe someone just wants a ride to their friend's house or the airport. So it's probably maybe a split between tourists and locals, right?
Yeah.
But it must mean that their drivers are really nice too.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think so. So maybe it's just a really pleasant experience in San Antonio in an Uber.
Wow, I'm fascinated by that. I will
Yeah.
tell you, I was in San Antonio not that long ago, and like I ordered Uber Eats, and that seemed to be fine. So I don't know. I didn't actually test out the Uber driver part of it. Next time I go to San Antonio, I would have to test this out for us.
Yeah. See how it all works.
Yeah.
So you got San Antonio was number 1, and in the top 10, just taking a look at it here. So Portland actually number 10 for the
very
the
good.
nicest passengers. So I
Well,
guess
I can believe it, Greg. If people like you, then I can see how it would be very nice.
I mean, minus getting my friend to ride home, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty good ratings. So
yeah, the only places I remember, we always have these really funny Uber stories, but I remember this one time I took an Uber. I've taken Ubers in like I can't even count how many different cities here in the United States even. But I remember one time I was in Orlando, and we were driving, and all of a sudden the driver stops, opens the door, gets out of the car, leaves, and another driver jumps in for the
what?
same ride, and I'm in. I'm like, I don't know
No,
if I should be scared or worried, but
that's
the
not
next
how that's supposed to work.
it was very, very strange.
That is odd. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely a weird one. I mean, I had some weird ones in Montana. Maybe the masks were not on, but otherwise, I've never had anybody switch drivers in the middle of a ride.
In the middle of a ride, and it wasn't even that long. I want to say it's like a 3-mile drive. By the way, if any of you are
Weird.
watching, if you had a good Uber story that you want to tell Greg and I, definitely jump in. We'd love to hear your Uber ride story.
Yeah, please do. I'm always curious about those things to see what happened. I can. Do you want to talk about the lowest average rider rating? Okay, so what do you think is the city with the lowest rated passenger?
New York.
That wasn't even you nailed it. Yeah, it's New York.
New York. Yeah. I've ridden the Uber
100%.
in New York for so many times. Those drivers are so grumpy. I love New York, by the way, but yeah, New York drivers are very upset. But then it's kind of
passengers.
It's polarizing. They're either really upset or they're super nice, and like it's one of the two.
Yeah, that makes it. Yeah, it's New York City. The number 2 was surprising to me of the lowest average rider rating. Seattle.
Oh, well, it is surprising. But then doesn't Seattle or parts of Washington also have the highest suicide rate? So
that's a whole Northwest.
So maybe
thing.
not happy because of the rain, right?
Yeah, everybody's depressed here. That's the usually the stereotype. Yeah, that's true. So maybe that's it. So the Seattle was
that is surprising though. I would think it might be like, okay, so because I obviously got the answer wrong the first one, but if we're talking specific cities, and I could see somewhere like if there's New York, people, it could also be Los Angeles because with all the terrible traffic, right? So it could be a combination of those two, but I'm surprised by Seattle because Seattle seems like, I mean, they got so many Costco's everywhere. You think if you have that many Costco's in your city, you got to be pretty happy there, but must be a combination of the weather and the rain and
probably. Yeah. And traffic is pretty bad in Seattle too. So maybe that's part of it.
Maybe.
LA was number 8. Number 8. San Francisco is 6 though. So San Francisco is worse.
Which is surprising because San Francisco, it's interesting because I've had good experiences in Ubers in San Francisco. And actually, if I can say this, the really wealthy Uber drivers, I feel like, are in San Francisco because every time I've gotten into an Uber or even a Lyft in San Francisco or Silicon Valley, I have conversations with the driver and they're telling me that they're making more at Uber than when they were working at Google or working
Wow.
somewhere else. So I'm actually surprised.
Dang. Yeah, that just says a lot about San Francisco too, just how expensive it
Yeah.
is there. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so that's where we're the rankings. But again, you can take a look too at your own personal ratings now just to see where you're at. They also gave a list of some recommendations on how to get better ratings if people were getting lower ratings. Like the suggestions were pack it in, pack it out, don't leave your stuff behind. That's a key. Make sure you buckle up, be ready. Don't make them wait forever. I totally agree with that. That's
Oh yeah, nobody
you make
likes to
somebody wait
wait.
out there for 15 minutes for you. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
not good.
especially at the airport.
And don't slam the door. They said that is one of the biggest ones that will
Oh,
get somebody to deduct stars, because that's the last thing you see of somebody. So if you
yeah.
slam their door, they're going to be like, jerk, And so that's another thing. Be
And
mindful of the
always remember to
doors.
say thank you. I think
Yes.
that's really important. Like I always make a
Yep.
point to say thank you so much for the ride, getting us safe. Robin is saying she's on LinkedIn Live with us right now, and so is Sadiq. Robin is saying Seattle, they spilled too much coffee.
Yeah.
That could be it, right?
That could be it. That could definitely be it. Yeah, spilling coffee on some upholstery, that's not gonna.
Yeah, make sure you
go
keep
over
your
too well.
stomach safe. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the slamming of the door, that is so key.
Yeah.
That is key.
Yep.
Mhm.
So don't slam your Uber doors, and you'll get a better rating. That's the lesson there.
Yeah, I'm sure tipping helps too, Greg.
Tipping, tipping, I'm sure helps. Yeah, definitely tip. But there you go. Some kind of, I just thought that was interesting statistics coming out there from Uber on that end. The last thing that I've got here, now this is where I was talking about before, is Bionic Eyes. So to get into this, to explain it, so there's actually quite a few companies that are working on this kind of technology, but there's one in particular. It's an Australian company, and they just received an FDA, basically a fast pass approval. The technical term, breakthrough device. So it's a breakthrough device approval. I'll explain that here in a second. But more importantly, what is the Bionic Eye? So this company in particular is working on a particular degenerative disease that has to do with retinas. So this is a specific thing that they're working on. So it's not just kind of a carte blanche, but specifically retina deterioration. And there's this disease that basically eventually your retina deteriorates to where you can't see anymore. So they started working on this way to get around that. And the way it works is this. So they actually go in and they implant a sensor behind the retina. So there's surgery to put a sensor in behind your retina. From there, you wear a set of glasses with cameras on them that then attach to a processor that's around the back of your head. And that processor wirelessly sends the visual data from the camera to that sensor, and it allows your brain to reinterpret that as actual visual signals. So it gives them sight back on the study so far.
That's incredible.
Incredible. They've been doing it. I believe this one for 2 years. They've been doing the studies, and they said they've found success in that people have been able to, go in. They said they can actually see well enough to recognize their family, to walk into a restaurant, to walk down the street and see light poles and signs. So it's not like 100% sight back, but enough that's functional sight, to be able to see someone's face when at most, it's getting completely blurry, if not blind. So that's for this study. That's amazing. That's what they're able to do with that. Yeah. Think about how you could get that back. And the breakthrough part for the FDA, so that just means they can go through things a lot faster. The FDA is going to work with them. They've seen enough from them. It's a huge process to go through the FDA to get something approved, even to trial. But even the FDA was like, this is pretty good. We want to work with you on this to help you get through this faster.
That's amazing. Imagine all the people that would benefit from this. What a wonderful thing. What a wonderful way to use technology.
Right? Yeah. I mean, and it's so cool. And there are other companies working on the same kind of thing and even different kinds of loss of sight. But, the fact that we're maybe burgeoning on the age of having bionic eyes to restore sight to people who are blind or partially blind. I mean, that's cool stuff. That's really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Greg. Because I mean, that wasn't even my radar. I haven't seen it anyway. That's incredible. And Vicky is saying brilliant technology, absolutely. And Sadiq is asking, Sadiq is talking. Oh, still talking about Uber, but yeah, I mean, so true. I think that definitely, I think if we're using technology to help people regain their eyesight, right, be able to
Yeah.
function as, to be independent. I mean, vision is like sort of the core foundation to all that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So to see where there's actual ways that we might be able to, change some of that or give somebody that kind of thing back, that's just amazing to me. That's I've talked about it too. I love medical technology if it's improving lives. Like video games are awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love that new video game, but this maybe actually affects people's lives a little bit more.
And they can play video games. Won't they
And then
have
they can
their
play video
bio?
games.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah, it seems that, but it's so true. I love that. I think that we need more of that. And it's great to see that there's so much more innovation coming out in
Yeah.
healthcare with technology. And I think maybe, I don't know about you, but I feel like, because of the pandemic and whatnot, I think definitely there's more interest in, making things easier for more people to live a better quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just resolving, some of the complications that people have to deal with. And you
Mhm.
can, set it aside with tech, all the better. So
All better.
I'll try to make sure that we bring those things to everybody here on the loop when I see something that's pretty cool like that. And if anybody else has any really cool things that you're seeing that you think we should know about or you want to tell me about, I always want to know about it. So please get a hold of me and just shoot me a message or hit me up on any social media and let me know.
Yeah, direct message Greg. He loves that stuff, and we
Yeah.
love it, Greg, when you share it to us because you put it on our radar. And like, I'll be honest with you, I read the Uber review thing, but I didn't know to this degree, and I'm now like totally fascinated. I mean, talk
Yeah.
about feeling really smart at the dinner table later today. Did you know?
Did you
This
know?
is where we ranked on the Uber list of friendliest drivers. Unfortunately, we need to do a little bit better.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it'll be controversial for some people, the ratings, the rankings, but um I've seen the Apple Car. I just saw some comment. They just came through there. I've seen the new Apple Car, Greg. No, I have not. So if
I haven't
you
seen the
want
new
to,
Apple Card too. Okay,
yeah,
Vicky, that we're
please,
putting it on radar, Greg's radar.
I will be looking that up after this show.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. I think next week, Greg, we're gonna come back on Wednesday again. I think we're gonna come a little bit earlier next Wednesday, but sorry the schedules are changing just for a couple weeks, but we're gonna come back to our normal schedule time very, very soon. So thanks so much for hanging with us. It's so fun to be here with everybody.
Yeah, thank you all, and please share the show and let other people know about it if you want to, or tag us in whatever you want. And appreciate everybody joining us here for the loop. It's always so much fun.
That's right. I love it. Thank you so much, Greg, for your time. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And thank you. I want to say thank you. Special shout out to those of you, especially Vicky, Garvey, everybody who's been so supportive of our show and sharing the show afterwards. That means a lot to us. So thank you so much for doing that.
It does.
And with that, I think we're wrapped.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. We'll talk to everybody next week.
Talk to you next week. Take care.
Bye.